We welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show on 1130 The Tiger 103.3 FM, and we're pleased to welcome in one of the coolest people that I've gotten to meet in the world of barbecue. Look, you know you're good when your nickname is Sweetie, right? Like that means there's something going on. He is Daryl Walker of Sweetie's Barbecue in Natchitoches, multiple award winner at Memphis in May. Sweetie, what's up, my brother? How are you?
What's going on, man? I'm feeling great, brother. Hey, thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, look, I figure, we've been kind of playing chase, trying to get it locked down. I know you've been busy running around doing everything, and finally got you locked in, and no better time than right before the 4th of July, when everyone loves to get out and do a little cooking. So feels like it's a perfect time. So before we get into all of that, let's back up. How did you get the nickname Sweetie?
Well, that name was gave to me by my sister when I was younger. Everybody thought I was such a beautiful kid, and Sweetie just went along with it. So that's the name I got.
There you go. And hey, look, by the way, you're a beautiful adult, man. So it hadn't changed. That's for sure.
Well, I still got a few of those cartoon knots on top of my head my wife gave me.
Yeah. Well, look, and you, we're going to talk about you dropping her on the way to the stage not too long ago. That you deserved a couple of knots on your head for that, I can tell you. Let's get into your kind of how you got into where you're at right now. What led you into barbecue and into doing what you're doing?
Well, I mean, the love of barbecue started for me when I was probably 9 or 10, just watching my dad cook and, having family members over, friends and stuff like that. It always made people happy, and that's what I wanted to try to, mimic that. So, I mean, that's why I got into barbecue, and I once I got into it, I found out I loved it just like he did. So, that's what got us in there. That's what got me started.
So how do you go from, backyard cook, someone who, is cooking for your family or for friends and you're, having folks over. How do you go from that to, hey, let's turn this into a business and see if we can make a go of it?
Well, actually it started, I had a friend of mine asked me to come and cook for his family that were coming down from New Orleans, and everybody came. When they came down, they got a taste of the Sweetie's barbecue, and they just said, "Man, you need to do something with this," And everybody just kept saying, "You need to do something with this," and everywhere we would go and cook for people, and I always had that spirit where I just had to cook everywhere I went. If somebody was cooking, I just jumped in and helped them, and it just kind of started from that, and people was like, you need to try to do something, and that once I got with my wife, that's what we did. We just opened up the barbecue.
So give me some idea, because look, barbecue is one of the toughest businesses to be a part of. It is, especially now in the last several years, meat prices are through the roof, and it's hard to, a lot of, I mean, we've seen a lot of barbecue places closing over the course of the last couple of years. Kind of walk me through what have been the challenges for you of trying to get, Sweetie's up and running and draw crowds and, sell out and make sure that you're turning a profit. Like, tell me about the challenges of that.
Well, I know with some of the challenges, when people see me on Facebook winning competitions and stuff like that, that's always been a big help to us, because, the people are like, I gotta try. And then, us owning a food trailer, we're able to go to different spots. When one spot get, low with, I guess, people buying stuff, we try to move to different locations, and that, that kind of helped us. But the meat prices are through the roof, and they will put you in a bind if nobody buys the food and stuff. So, it was real important that we won at the competitions. That's why we, did so many of them, because we wanted to prove that our food was, better than what they thought. And once they tasted it, it is good.
It's speaking of competitions, tell me about getting into that world, because there's a lot of places that are that love to do barbecue, and they have a a brick and mortar, or they have a trailer and they're doing barbecue, but it's a whole different world doing it competitively. So what made you decide you wanted to get into that competitive barbecue realm?
Well, I had this company that really believed in me, and they would sponsor the competitions for me because, I mean, if anybody knows, competition and expenses, man, they're through the roof. So we had this one company that, sponsored us, and that's how we were able to do a lot of competitions, and we got really good at it to where we were, nobody could beat us. And then it forced us to have to go pro, which I didn't know anything about at the time, because I was backyard competitions and nobody would let me in it because I was winning first place and everything. So, once I got into the pros, I had to learn how they were doing things. And now, I'm going around and, just really trying to prove the food. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, it's you've won a couple of awards from Memphis in May, which I mentioned. I'm hard pressed to come up with a bigger barbecue competition in the world than Memphis in May. KC has the Masterpiece, and Hogs for the Cause down in New Orleans is certainly very big, but Memphis in May is about as big as it gets. It seems like.
It is, and it's the who of who's in barbecue that you'll see there. You know. So that's what got.
So
go ahead.
You end up getting into the barbecue world. You're trying to sell your stuff at the same time you're trying to do competitions. How do you go about sort of dividing your time between, hey, I need to make sure that I'm making money at this, which oftentimes is, let me go sell, at our spot or the trailer, move the whatever, versus, hey, let's pack up and go for a weekend to Memphis, or let's go, wherever to go do a competition. How do you go about trying to sort of devise and divide your time among those two?
I could tell you it's really hard. I couldn't do any of the competition traveling if I didn't have the staff that I have. I got Brandon Fox, I got DeAndre, I got Emma, and I got a list of them. And they want me to win just as much as I want to win. So, them doing what I need them to do back at home to make sure I can go to a competition without worrying about it. I mean, they're the best at it. I mean, I couldn't ask off a better crew. So, I mean, without them, it could be no, world champion Swedish barbecue.
Yeah, and let's not forget your darling wife either, who is.
Well, I mean, my wife is she's the backbone of everything. I can't say enough good things about her. I mean, she basically took my dream and catapulted it to what it is now. So, I mean, 99% of what you see is stuff she, has done or put it in, perspective for me.
Talking to Daryl Walker, Sweetie from Sweetie's Barbecue down in Natchitoches. So, you kind of get into the professional barbecue circuit, and that's obviously a different animal. There are, qualifying events, and you have to, gain certain numbers of points to get into bigger tournaments like Memphis in May. There's qualifications that have to be done. I'm curious about cooking. To me, there are three levels of cooking. There's cooking for your friends and family and yourself. There's cooking professionally for a restaurant, and then there's cooking it at the competition level, the competitive level. What are some of the similarities and differences you found in cooking for you and your family and yourself versus cooking at the restaurant versus cooking on the competitive circuit?
Well, I know at the at the restaurant and cooking for my family, I know I just have to make it taste good. I can just be free with the flavors like I want to add to the meat and stuff like that. I know I can add a little extra this, a little extra that to the meat at the restaurant and at home. But at a competition, they want everything down the middle. They don't want to overpower in taste. So and when I get to a competition, I'm real strict on what I do. I'm tasting stuff constantly all day. But at the end, my wife has to taste everything because I'm taste out. I can't taste anything.
Right.
It makes me sick. So, and I'm real serious about it. So I really know how much seasoning to put on stuff, and I really know what to do it's hard for me to explain, but I don't know. It's just something like it's second nature to me, when it comes to competition. But, for restaurant and at home, I know people like to taste extra stuff. So I kind of like to keep it like that.
Yeah, you can make it a little spicier or a little sweeter or anything.
Yeah.
And look, as a certified judge, and I'm KCBS certified, and go through a class and you learn all the stuff. And what you learn is there are certain things that are there is no interpretation to them. There are things that are objective, and then there are things that are subjective. Objective is it cooked to a correct doneness? Does the brisket hold together and then pull apart, easily when applied with a little force? Does the rib, when you bite it, does it leave a bite mark, or does all the meat come off the bone, which means it's overcooked? Or do you have to really fight with it, which means it's undercooked? But the subjective issue is taste. And I've got to imagine, I was talking with a guy up here, DJ Thomas, who was part of that East Bank barbecue competition that we judged a couple of months ago. And I was talking with him about the idea that I can't imagine as a cook, a competitive cook, how frustrating it must be to know that you nailed the texture, you nailed the doneness, it looks great, appearance is fantastic, but one judge really likes a sweet rib, and one judge really likes a savory rib, and one judge wants more spice. Like, I can't imagine the level of frustration that has to be.
It's frustrating, and the thing about it, I just like to cook my style barbecue, and I cook my recipe every competition I go to. Whether I change the pepperness to it, or whether I change the sweetness of it, it's really, when I go to an area, I'm going to ask the people around there, what do they like? And if they like stuff sweet, or if they like it smoky, I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to, make the meat taste like they like it, but I'm going to still use my same recipe. And then it's up to the judges after that point.
Tell me about,
I'm going to leave down the middle.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you have to do. To me, it feels like the stuff that wins is always the stuff that is both savory and sweet. That's what it feels like. Yeah, it feels like it's it feels like it's a look. For me personally, I know that I like a more savory rib versus an overly sweet rib. So when I'm judging, if it's a good salty savory rib and then there's a little kick of sweetness at the end, like that's going to get my highest grade. But the guy next to me may want nothing, overpowering sweetness like that. That's got to be so frustrating. I can't even imagine. Let's talk about your recipe. I'm not going to ask you to give any secrets away, but just tell me about the idea and like how you go about. How you went about sort of perfecting what you wanted to do, your rubs, your sauces, whatever, liquids you might add, whether it's an apple cider, whether it's a honey, whatever. Like, how did you go about sort of perfecting your recipes?
Well, it was really just trial and error, taking that recipe and letting people taste it different places. And like you say, you got some that like it sweet, some that like it not so sweet, some want a lot of pepper. And basically what I did is when I was making the rubs and stuff, because I make all the rubs for the restaurant, and I just tried to hit it down the middle where to be really savory, a little salty, not as much heat, because I want people to keep eating it. I don't want them to, once they taste it, it's too hot for them. So I kind of backed off on the heat. But as far as the rib, we use brown sugar, and that's basically about it. And we'll wrap it, and and that's our finished product on it.
It's funny.
We don't sauce any of the ribs at the restaurant. And I don't sauce them anywhere but at a competition, because I know if a rib doesn't have sauce on it, it's not going to win.
Yeah, and again, that's another thing that sort of bothersome to me because I am a huge proponent of eating things without sauce. You know, I'm a big, I tell everyone, every time you go to a barbecue restaurant, if you've never been, eat everything without sauce first. And
That's correct.
And then, you know, because that tells you if they know what they're doing in terms of cooking. And then
That's correct.
turn around and add sauce and see, because a lot of times a sauce will be very complementary to the flavor of a you know, piece of barbecue, and oftentimes the sauce will not, and you'll know that when you add that sauce. Right. You'll go, oh, that's not good. So in terms of you know, kind of getting your restaurant where you want it, and you've got a food truck, and you were up here a few weeks ago. Tell me what you're, you know, kind of where you feel you're at in terms of getting the restaurant to the place that you want it to be.
A lot of that depends on, I want to say, workers, because right now we're going through a time where it's hard to find workers, and you know, I can't work, me and my wife, fingers to the bone, and you know, just really getting workers and, you know, getting people that buy into the idea of Sweetie's Barbecue being the best in the world. You know, if I could ever get people to see that, they taste it, but I need them to see it and work toward it with me. And that's really, you know, we have a location on Texas Street, and we have another location on Kaiser in Natchitoches that we're renovating, and we're going to move the whole barbecue operation over in that area. And, you know, just really finding the workers and, you know, getting everybody to buy into it. You know?
It's tough, man. All right, so July 4th is tomorrow, obviously. Give me some idea of what does Sweetie do for July 4th? Are you open? Are you cooking for your family? Are you taking the day off? Like, what do you do for a July 4th?
No, we're gonna cook at the restaurant, and we're gonna be selling food and stuff. Because I know it's a lot of people out there that it's too hot for them to cook outside, and they don't really want to fool with that. So let me just do that for them.
Yeah.
You know. I got my wife. She's you know, I asked her, did she want to work 4th of July, and she was like, yeah, because I'm not cooking at home, so we cook at the restaurant. I said, yeah, we could do that then.
Oh,
so that's what we've been.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, if you're looking for some good barbecue, man, get down to Natchitoches and get some Sweeties. And I'm assuming they're also going to have fireworks going off in Natchitoches as well. They usually do.
I don't think they're going to have the fireworks.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to have fireworks. I didn't see anything in the paper about them, but, you know, last minute they could do something. I don't know. But as of right now, I don't think they are.
Well, look, take a trip to Natchitoches, visit the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, go down on Front Street, get you some Sweetie's Barbecue, and then get back up here in time for fireworks, man. That's what I would do. I mean, that's my kind of idea.
And Patrick, I want to thank you, man, just for your support and stuff. You know, since we met that time, man, you've been on point, man, and I really want to thank you for that. I know coming up there when we were in Shreveport, you came out there and you hung out for a little bit, got you something to eat, brought your family with you, and I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, look,
and you're always trying to, you know, bring me on the radio and, you know, just do fun things, man. And I really thank God for people like you, and I hope everything just works out for you this year, and, you know, Godspeed to you, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Look, I'm a big believer in barbecue. You know, I love my folks in East Texas. I wish, you know, there's a couple of spots here in town that are really trying to give it a good go, and I can't wait to go and try some of that stuff out. But look, Sweetie, not only is your product good, even if we argue about fall off the bone ribs, you know, your product is good, and I'm always down to try to bring people to good barbecue in this area, because we don't have enough of it. And so anytime there's good barbecue in the area, and by the way, so for those that don't know, Sweetie and I, when we were judging, I was running over some of the things we look for as a certified judge when we're judging barbecue, and I mentioned you don't want fall off the bone ribs. Everyone advertises fall off the bone ribs, and I'm telling you, they're overcooked. And Sweetie said, well, that, you know, our ribs are fall off the bone ribs, and we kind of laughed. Yeah. I'm like, well, you've won Memphis in May, so you know, whatever you're doing is clearly working. But then, sweetie, I went and ate one of your ribs, and it's not a fall off the bone rib. It's tender. It's terrific, but the bite was perfect. Like, it was, your ribs are perfect, man. It was not a fall off the bone rib. I would have not given you any demerits on texture on your ribs.
You know, Michael Simon said the same thing when he tasted my ribs. He said, "This is a perfect bite right here."
Yeah, and by the way, you are on Barbecue America, which was awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And he said that was a perfect bite. That's a perfect rib.
Yeah. And so make sure you understand, like, you know, your ribs are perfect, man. That texture is absolutely fantastic. I would have given you no notes on texture. All right, final thing before we let you go, and we really appreciate you spending a little time, especially since you're open today. Give me an idea of, you know, you said you're moving into the new spot on Kaiser. Kind of what do you feel like is the next, you know, the next revolution, the next evolution for Sweetie's Barbecue?
To be honest with you, I really would love to expand Sweetie's Barbecue. I mean, I want everybody in the world to taste it. I know I may not reach everyone, but I would like to have a location in every state. I really would. You know, a couple of locations. To be honest with you, I'm really looking at, you know, moving the operation to Shreveport.
Yes.
You know, having a spot there, and you know, I don't know, man. I'm only one man, and I got my wife, and I don't want to burn her out. But man, the dream is burning in me, and you know, and I want to do it, and I'm gonna try to do it.
Well, here's the thing: you got the trophies to back it up, which obviously help. And these are, and again, this is not a trophy from your you know, from some piney woods in East Texas. This is Memphis in May, which is as big a trophy as you can get in the world of barbecue. And Sweetie's Ribs have done it. Go catch him down on Texas Street in Natchitoches. The food truck moves around. Follow them. I know you're on Facebook. What other social media should we follow you on, Sweetie?
Now that I'm gonna leave up to my wife to answer for me, because she does all that part for me. Hold on.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We're on Facebook.
Yes. How are you? You doing all right? Make sure he's not working you too hard now.
It's scorching hot out there today too, so I'm enjoying this air right now.
You ain't lying. It is hot. So yeah, give us all your social medias and where we can follow along.
Okay, so Facebook and Instagram is all Sweetie's Barbecue.
Okay.
And then off of Facebook too, we post daily, like if we happen to be in the food truck, you know, if we're going to Shreveport or Alexandria, or you know, sometimes like this week we set our food truck up at our new location on Kaiser and just kind of sold food over there. So yeah, we post a lot on Facebook mostly. You can kind of catch everything there.
And make sure you understand as well. I just want everyone to understand it is Sweetie's BARBQ, not BBQ. It's BARBQ.
Right.
So if you're searching for it, it's not going to be Sweetie's BBQ. It's going to be Sweetie's BARBQ.
Right. Yep.
And you'll see my beautiful face on it too.
I mean, look, why wouldn't you? You know, I mean, why wouldn't you want to see Sweetie's beautiful face on your social media? What could be better than that? All right, so go follow them on Facebook and Instagram, and keep up with their travels. And I know they'll be back up in Shreveport before too long, and obviously we'll talk about that when it happens. Daryl, man, it always great to catch up. It was great to see you a few weeks ago when you were up here. Y'all keep doing the deal, and we'll keep supporting you and getting the word out, brother.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it, brother.
All right. That was Daryl Walker, Sweetie from Sweetie's Barbecue.